If you're watching this video right now, it's probably because you know that you have an issue with procrastination and you want to find a way to solve it. Well, in this video, I'm going to be covering exactly how you can do that. And it's actually more simple than you think. So you want to stick around and watch the entire video to find out exactly how I overcame procrastination and started making over 5K a month whilst traveling the world. Now, before I get into exactly how you can actually do this yourself, I want to talk about how much I used to actually procrastinate, just to put it into context for you. So if you go way back on this channel, you can see that I started my journey years and years ago. I think it was around 2017, I want to say, when I officially started recording everything. I could be wrong, but go back on my channel. You're going to see I started my journey in SMA, which is, at the time, it was very popular because of Tai Lopez. Tai Lopez came out with a program called something SMA, I can't remember exactly what he called the program, but it was something to do with SMMA, and that's really what started the trend of people starting digital marketing agencies and providing digital marketing services. So I jumped on that trend at the time. I saw it as a very good opportunity to be able to make a lot of money and have very little upfront costs. Now, if you go back, you'll see that it took me a long time to get to the position where I'm actually able to make money online consistently now and be able to travel the world at the same time. So how did I actually end up doing that? So the basic thing that you need to understand is you're either driven by gain or you're driven by loss. Now, if you're anything like me, you're probably driven by loss more than you are driven by gain. The chances are, the reason why you're not taking action and actually doing the things that you know you need to do is because your goals don't feel real to you. Your dream lifestyle does not feel real to you and you think it's far away, so you're not actually taking any action right this second, this moment, to be able to actually get there. Now, the way that I found to actually combat this and to get over this is by changing my environment. One of the easiest ways to actually get rid of your old habits and to start building new ones is to change your environment. If you've been in the same environment and you've created these negative habits like procrastinating or any other negative habit that you might have, you want to make sure that you can actually start from blank. You want to start from a fresh slate. It's really difficult to do that when you're in the same environment where you actually built those negative habits, because they're already wired in you. You've got all the triggers within that environment, and you're never gonna, I wouldn't say you are never gonna get over them in that same environment, but it's gonna be very difficult. So why not make things easier for you? Life doesn't have to be difficult, and this is one of the realizations that I had. So the first thing that I would recommend is this. Whatever you're doing in life, you know that you want to get to a specific situation, right? How can you fast track that? So for example, in my case, it was actually going out and starting to travel and experiencing what life could be like in other countries. Obviously, when I did that, I realized, wow, like I could actually live such a good life at a fraction of the cost that I would be able to in the UK, and get a lot more value for the money that I'm spending. So what I did was I went to Turkey, and at the time, this was around 2 years ago, nearly 2 years ago now. At the time, Turkey was so cheap. Like, you could get a kilo of ribeye steak for around 11 or 12 pounds. That is crazy. Like, it was basically, I was eating half a kilo of steak every single day for around, I think it was less than £200 a month. You could never do that in the UK. It would cost double or even triple that price if you wanted to eat that amount every single day. Now, that's a very simple thing, but that's what I wanted as a part of my lifestyle. I wanted to be able to eat ribeye steaks every day. These are things that you have to decide. What do you actually want your lifestyle to look like? Because no matter where you live, no matter what you're doing, you're going to have some sort of repetitive aspect to life. So you need to figure out and plan out what you actually want that to look like. For me, it was having ultimate freedom, being able to live wherever I wanted to live within reason. Obviously, it has to be affordable. If you want to move to Dubai and you want to set up a business there, just save up some money. If you're working a job right now, or if you're not working a job, I would highly recommend getting a job, because unless you have very low expenses and you're able to actually go a long time without generating any revenue within your business, you're going to need to have some sort of supporting income. This whole idea of like quitting your job and then going all in, it can work, but unless you have the habits in place to be able to actually take the action every single day and be consistent, you're not going to get the results. So anyway, as I was saying, if you want to move to Dubai, for example, and you want to live there, go and test it out, you know, save some money from your job, whether it's 2K, 3K, 4K, whatever it is. Go out there for a week, go out there for 2 weeks, go out there for a month, and just stay there. Experience what life could be like over there. Just experiencing that alone is going to show you if you want it or not. Because you can have this dream in your head, but until you actually experience it and you live it, you're not actually going to know if you want that thing. So in my example, when I went to Turkey and I lived there for around 3 months, 2 to 3 months, I was like, wow, this is what I want to do. This is the kind of life I want to live. This is amazing. And when I went back to the UK, I was depressed. And that's what made me quit my job and actually start traveling full time, even though I knew that I would have no income, but I had some savings. So that's exactly what I did. So if you're not able to change your environment right now, I would recommend getting a job, saving some money, and being able to go out and actually experience the dream life that you want. Because this whole thing, this whole concept of making 10K a month, it's like, why do you want it? Why do you want the money? Like, why do you actually want the money? Do you want it because everybody is spouting this whole thing about 10K a month? Or are there specific reasons why you want 10K a month? Why do you want to make the money? You need to plan out what your life what you want your life to look like. Because until you know that, what's the point of chasing this arbitrary number? And realistically, you don't even have to hit 10K a month to actually be able to enjoy your life to the fullest in cheaper countries like Thailand or Vietnam, Bali, Indonesia, even in Albania, which I'm currently in, Turkey. All of these countries are extremely cheap compared to the UK. Oftentimes half the price, sometimes a third of the price, sometimes even a quarter of the price, depending on how well you budget and whether or not you live like a local in these places. If you're making money online, it does not make sense to actually stay somewhere like the UK because the cost of living is extremely high and you're going to be paying a lot of money in taxes as well. Obviously, if you go abroad, there's ways you can actually solve for that and be able to pay less taxes, and you can speak with obviously professionals in those different countries and do your own research online to be able to determine how you actually want to set up your taxes as well. So you can cut massive costs from your life that you would incur by living in places like the UK or the US or any other first world country that is overpriced and overhyped right now. And it doesn't make any sense to live in those countries, especially if you're an online entrepreneur and your income is coming from online sources. So if you can't change your environment right now, you don't have enough savings to be able to go out and test the countries that you want to live in or whatever that may be, the second thing that I would recommend you do, and this is something that really helps me, is find a peer group, whether that's online or in person, to be able to keep you accountable and have weekly catch-up calls. On those weekly catch-up calls, what you want to do is say, these are my goals for next week, these were my challenges this week, and this is what I'm aiming to do. That way you can actually be held accountable for every single week and be able to make progress within your business, within your life on a week-by-week basis. Now, another thing you can do to overcome procrastination is to actually start documenting your journey online. Now, this does help a little bit. You do feel the pressure a little bit from this, but it's not as much as actually having a close peer group that you actually care about their opinion. That is the most powerful. But if you don't have that option right now, anybody can start with this last option, which is start documenting your journey online. Number one, if you're in the bottom right now, you're literally documenting your entire come up, and that is powerful. That is extremely powerful because people want to see that. People want to see things that they can actually relate to. So if you start documenting your journey from where you are right now, it doesn't matter what position you're in. You could be sleeping on the floor. Like, it literally doesn't matter. Start documenting it, because at the end of the day, through that, you can actually document your come up. It's essentially like documenting your own movie. Your life is like a movie, so why not document it? This is going to be something you can show to your kids later in life. This is something that you can use to build a network over time. And also, it's also something that you can use to keep yourself accountable as well. Whether it's posting daily reels on Instagram, which I'm doing right now. This is day X of getting from 50K to 1 million a year is what I'm currently doing on Instagram right now. And there's a whole backlog of all the content that I'm producing on a day-by-day basis, which anybody can go in and see at any point in time. I can go back and see it at any point in time. So it's a very, very powerful thing to set up, and it's very easy to say, oh, I'll start recording the journey, or I'll start putting out content once I get to a certain point. That is the wrong mindset, because people want to follow you from the beginning. Even if they find you later on, having that backlog of content builds so much credibility and so much trust. And it's like I said, there's so many other positive aspects to it, like being able to build a network as you build your brand online. And also, obviously, if you want to pass it on to your kids as lessons over time as well, that's something that's powerful. And the truth is as well, if you're a beginner and you're learning lessons along the way, those lessons can actually benefit other beginners as well. So you're basically taking that value that you could provide to the world and not putting it out there, which is obviously you're just keeping things to yourself, which it's not going to be valuable for anybody. So start putting content out. So that is another way that anybody can start and, you know, begin to reduce the amount of procrastinating that they're doing. So those are the 3 kind of like strategies or tactics that you can use to reduce your procrastination. Like I said, if you're like me, you're probably motivated more by loss. You need to experience the lifestyle that you want to experience, and then actually like work hard to maintain it. Because when I left the UK and I had no income, I knew that I wanted to live the life of being able to travel the world and make money online, and there was no other option for me to go back to the UK. Like, I didn't want to go back because I knew how depressed I was in living in the UK, just binge watching TV shows and movies. I've literally watched hundreds of movies at this point because of all of the time that I've wasted. I can somehow probably use that in the future in being able to create content and create storylines and all that kind of stuff, but overall it was a waste of time. So I don't want you to waste your time. I want you to begin being consistent and making small bits of progress, small steps towards your goals every single day.